One of the few monsters that is genetically made and actually a secondary equal dragon weapon. Don't worry, we'll be power scaling that very soon as well. But we have to ask something. What elder dragon or what dragon in general was Shia made for? And this is basically a theory video on maybe the elder dragon that they're going to use to basically be like, okay, you know what? Zoshia may have been a justifiable creation. Because again, remember the Guardian monsters were genetically modified for war, basically, from the Wyverians. And well, there was a reason why they made them. Now, today we're going to talk about what Elder Dragon or even Black Dragon specifically was Zoshia made for. So without further ado, just comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends, and let's talk about it. Now, the Elder Dragon has to be strong enough to be able to cause a mass extinction event. Because remember, Arc-Veiled species was once extinct, and the Wyverians still made the Guardian variant based off of, well, Arc-Veils that apparently existed. So this Elder Dragon not only has to be able to literally reduce an entire species to extinction, but may have wiped out whatever region Arc-Veiled originally held from. This is why some monsters are invasive in general, because they usually get pushed out of their regions. This is very problematic because a lot of monsters like Zinogre and even Devil Joe may have lost their original ecosystems that could actually sustain them. Zinogre is probably in a better case because it can hunt and prey upon larger monsters, but again, we do know that Devil Joe is also struggling because it doesn't have the same prey items it used to, with even some of the prey items like the dominant life forms being too tough for him. So this does mean that the equal dragon weapon or Zoshia would be above the likes of Primordial Malzeno and Runer Nergigante. Now, some of the dragons I think could be used, but I hope they really don't use them, even though it could make sense. So to start off, we have Fatalis. Now, Fatalis was already used in Monster Hunter World, right? And I don't think it would be proper to really bring him back again. The reason why I'm saying that is because he was already used. He was already given a platform to where it fitted perfectly for him. Adding Fatalis to another game where he's the big bad or the final boss will feel washed, rinsed, and, well, repeated, okay? And again, the thing is, they do have to use different Elder Dragons or Black Dragons, if you will. Now, Amatu, perfect, okay? It's perfect. A threat to an entire ecosystem, capable of causing, mass extinction events if a Elder Dragon or an Apex Elder Dragon like Runer or Primordial are not in the vicinity to really keep it in check. And keep in mind that this does mean that Runer and Primordial don't exist in this region. Now, one of the few Elder Dragons I do think could be used here is Gog Masios. It's a massive, kingdom-destroying, environmental danger type of Elder Dragon. You could probably give it a size boost, if you will, but again, this would be perfect. Imagine this thing being hidden in wilds, and I feel like Gog Masios is just way too perfect to not be in wilds. Like him, a Cantor, and maybe even another Wyvern or Elder Dragon. But I think Gog Masios as the final boss would be perfect. It's a easy to use Elder Dragon, and I mean, come on now. If we don't really get a Elder Dragon per environment or something like that, I think a special area where Gog Masios is basically in the arena, it has turf wars with like New Udra, maybe even Gravios as well, could actually cement itself as a very powerful threat and probably one of the biggest ecosystem destroyers till date. Albeit I do think that the oil well basin could probably sustain it, so it's not really out there. And keep in mind, what I mean by like catastrophe dragons, I mean those kind of like dragons that are capable of threatening the vast regions of the areas that they're in. For example, Geismagorm is a threat to everything in Komora. Both the Shrine of Ruins, the Elder Dragon level monsters and stuff like that. He's an absolute threat. And keep in mind, it took an Apex Elder Dragon to actually be able to beat him. Again, Apex Elder Dragons are Elder Dragons that are vastly beyond the strength, speed, durability, and hacks capability of the Elder Dragons. Same thing with Shara Ish Valda. It took an Apex Elder Dragon to put him down. And if you guys are going to downplay the situation, keep in mind, I've already made a video addressing that controversy with Runer Nergigante, considering the sheer fact that, for some reason, he seems to be at the epicenter of a lot of Boss Hunter downplay, with people even stating that he's a fraud, even though the book says differently. But then again, these are the same people that says Elatrion could be beaten by Arkvale, so I'm not even surprised. But anywho, I think the most likely candidate is possibly Dalmador. And I've actually seen people point this out. And to be honest, I think it is time for him to come back. I do. I think it's time. Now, you might say, why aren't you including Bahamut? And this because Bahamut's DLC. Yeah, he's going to be the first DLC we actually get for Monster Hunter Wild. So I'm not really expecting him to be, whatchamacallit, primary Elder Dragon of the region, which would be absolutely insane. But I do think that the Wounded Hollow and some parts of the new hub area are from a Dalmador. And this is important. Dalmadors, when they die, can actually take up a good total of the environment. They're not I don't think they're the biggest creature, but then again, it is comparable to likely La Viente or Raviente. But again, these guys do make up a small chunk of the new world, and that being comprised of the Rotten Vale. And again, we know this because of all the skeletons around. So believe it or not, if I had to pick an Elder Dragon that is more likely capable of not only causing mass extinction events, because again, Dalmador's diet is pretty huge, and then the sheer fact that Shia was created for it, I think that Shia would fit a Dalmador storyline. Imagine this being like the Shia Dalmador or something like that, that was hungry enough to devour an entire region, which winded up killing every Arkveld species, with the Ivarians only able to get just barely a good sample for them to recreate the Guardian Arkveld, and thus Arkveld now has this vendetta against Dalmador, and is thus building up strength to that point. Meanwhile, Shia, sensing Dalmador's return, is actually draining the environment so that it can prepare itself and make sure it's ready for that specific Elder Dragon. And I think that would make the most sense, because Dalmador has not been used just yet and would be perfect for a modern generation's final boss. Because again, we already went through Fatalis, we already went through Amatu, and we already went through actually, basically, yeah, just from those two first games, we already went through those two, so there's no reason to reuse them. Again, Wilds does need to be new, and if they make a new Elder Dragon, more power to them. But right now, I believe that Shia was created to counteract Dalmador. It makes sense. The absurd amounts of dragon energy, the wyvern milk and stuff like that could easily be able to subdue a Dalmador. And he may have all these powers and capabilities just because he's trying to prepare for this kind of dragon. But I'll see you guys later for another video. Peace.